Useless agent is on your TV, laptop, or your PC, whatever you call it. Useless agent is on your Facebook, laptop, or your PC, whatever you call it.
Okay, so been having a lot of problems with our streaming service, and basically I checked out the sound quality, and everything is telling me that it is a go. So I'm hoping that this time it's right. I even checked the actual microphone settings, and I managed to have this really cool smooth jazz voice, and so everything was working just fine. Really hoping that that's the case today. If not, then I'm just gonna have to give up on the Streamlabs and have to do this separately. So right now this is kind of a test just to check on everything and make sure all of our levels are good. Had to waste an entire episode yesterday, which really sucked. We had a really good one yesterday, and it just totally went to shit thanks to our lovely Streamlabs here, and again the sound had just completely come off. So it's good to know that everything is back. Everything's playing at a normal pace and a normal volume. I can actually hear you. I can hear myself. Now, one of the main things is I'm having to do double time because yesterday we, like I said, had a good show going, and it just went to crap because we had been probably filming from, I think, 10:30 till noon. And by the time that the show should have been on, I think it was around 12:30 where I just kind of just gave up. Went back to checking out our light structure because we are so happy to bring you actual lighting for once. Now, I'm not saying I know anything about it. We managed to get a pretty standard one. I want to show it to you in just a moment. So it is called the Desktop Selfie Studio, I guess. So this thing was made for cell phones and stuff. And I figure, well, I got a online show. Let's see if this will work. And one of the biggest problems that we always had while filming was always our lighting. We'd always gotten complaints about the lighting, how dark it was and such. And I didn't want to be the type of guy to go get a ring light because I just didn't, just wasn't feeling it. And yeah, so I caved in. I listened to the audience, and yeah, so we're happy to be here in actual human lighting rather than the vampire-ish lighting setting we had before. Now, what's also cool about this is we could change colors. See, this one makes me look human. This is more of an orange light, but definitely an improvement. Nonetheless, definitely an improvement. So, okay. So let's go ahead and just start. Like, as if we're going to be starting the show again later anyway. But basically, this is a rehashing of yesterday's episode, which is why it's on so early. I figured I got the sound working. I got everything going. let's just do it now while we have the chance. So, yeah. All right. So let's start off with our signature beginning. With our opening ceremonial bowl. Okay, now, if you read the title of today's episode, you would know that today's episode is brought to you in part by friendship. That's right. Today we are going to be talking about friendship. I really wish I had a graphic for that, just to pop up like the old Mortal Kombat. Sorry, the old Mortal Kombat fatalities. You to get the one that said friendship or babyality. I would have really liked to have said friendship, and then on the top the graphic would read like babyality, just so that way it would prove that like Local H had said before, hey man, we're from Chicago, we don't know shit about professionalism, okay? I can't even decide on what I really want to wear most of the time to the show, because a lot of the time I tend to do the show with the sunglasses, mainly because I'm just a little stoned and I don't want too much lighting in my eyes. And so now I really have to have the sunglasses on, because with our new lighting, it's very powerful lighting. And I really wish I could have shown you what it sounded like, because the sound that we got out of here was just phenomenal. I honestly sounded like someone back, if you remember WNUA, I honestly sounded like that. There was so much bass tone to my voice that I couldn't help but just want to speak in this, romantic, sexual kind of voice, the sexy Barry White style, which, ladies, I am here for you. G-U-Y, oh my. So, I know, I'm a tease. So, after the success of 2 days ago, we came back, took a little break, came back, and first episode, I figured it would be appropriate to make it about the whole voting situation, since most people I tend to talk to have a false perception of what an election really is. And I don't mean to retread everything we talked about last time, but you definitely don't want to be the most ill-informed or simply uninformed person in your group. So, I was trying to help out with understanding on a logical level what is the right way to vote, or at least the right way to approach voting, because I had gotten into an argument, not an argument really, it was just kind of a conversation I had on the bus, and a guy had told me, this is a guy I see on the bus pretty regularly, and he had basically stated that I was right to an extent, but he didn't agree with me fully. And not to belittle him, but to make a point, I simply, told him, I'll take out my wallet right now, give you $20 if you can name an election in the past 20 years where the popular vote has mattered. And I could name three off the top of my head where the popular vote didn't win. So the fact that he didn't want to argue about that, not from a mature level, it wasn't like it was an immature argument. He just really didn't have a leg to stand on. And so he conceded his argument. And again, didn't mean to belittle anyone. That's not our jobs as human beings. Our jobs should be to uplift, not to belittle. And we should be uplifting each other, not putting each other down. Once you put somebody down and you really, you really step on their pride and their dignity, I don't want to say you're stooping to a level, but really you kind of give in when you should be more open-minded and more uplifting, as redundant as that sounds. So anyway, after the success of what we did 2 days ago, I noticed that I was immediately approached by a couple of people that I'm acquainted with. And now there are some people that can be completely oblivious to social cues. And then there's people that just outright do not respect you enough to follow that social cue. So when somebody comes up to you and you are clearly on the phone and you are preoccupied, when that person decides to completely bypass what you are conveying to the outside world, that you're preoccupied and you're busy, that's simply a matter of disrespect and a lack of respect from that person to you. They don't care about your time, your privacy, your business, your matters. So in that case, they're really not a friend, because anybody that is even close to being your friend should know if you're preoccupied or on the phone to say something like, hey, when you're done, talk to me, something like that. Now, I was rudely interrupted instead, and then asked a question that I simply said no to, and I was asked for something that I didn't have, and I was asked for a phone number. I told that person I do not have that phone number. And I immediately got the question, why? Now, I had already said no. So, you have to remember, in order to have others respect your time, you have to appreciate it. You have to respect yourself enough to show that your time is valuable. And if it's not conveying valuable to you, then it won't be valuable to anybody else. So that's a given. But that once you've already done that and you've established that, then it's simply a matter of these people just don't respect you. And it's not that you don't deserve to be respected. It's more of the level that person is so narcissistic, and I hate to use this word now because it's so oversaturated in media, but they're toxic. They are toxic people. And this level of people calling out others as toxic and talking about toxic relationships, a lot of times it's just a matter of dealing with a narcissistic personality. And you have to remember, the narcissistic personality simply does not care, because they care about themselves. So once you have created these lines and these boundaries, you expect your friends to respect them and to follow them. And so basically, if you have someone in your life who is like Charlie Murphy would say, a habitual line stepper, I like to go to the bucket of crabs analogy and think about a bucket of crabs. When one gets to the very top of that bucket and is inches away from freedom, does that crab ever make it? No, because the crabs below it are simply going to take it down with the rest of them. And it's sad that that is a very human-like behavior. And people are fearful of success simply by their friends. I can't tell you how many times I've heard about a friend afraid to leave a job because their coworkers are their friends and they don't want to leave them. Now, if you're really that person's friend, you would want the best thing for that person. And so a friend would not hold you back from succession. A real friend would not hold you back from doing what you want to do, what makes you happy, and a friend should always back that up. And your friends should be kind of like your cheerleaders. And I look at friends of mine. I'll just name drop one. If I have a friend, Casey, anything he chooses to do with his life, that's my brother, and I'm gonna respect it, and I'm gonna honor his decisions and his choices, and especially if they involve me in any way. But mainly wanted to say that, if my brother Casey decides he wants to be left alone for a day or something like that, my job as his friend, and who I consider a brother, my job is to support him. And we have worked together before, and I didn't want to lose him at the job, but I knew that he was looking for more, and more responsibilities, more I think we were working at a diner together, and we were working at Deluxe Diner on Clark and Devon back when that was still there. And I remember him talking about changing his schedule because we were the overnight cleaning crew. And, I loved spending, 8 to 10 hours with, a guy that I've known since I was 7 years old. That's who I wanted to spend my time with. And when he had told me that he just simply isn't making enough money doing this, he decided that working full-time in the day would be more economically sensible, more viable for his lifestyle and his choices. Excuse me. And of course that let, I was a little disappointed, not disappointed in him, but disappointed in the reality of the situation. And never once did I ask him to stay. I did, probably say things like, oh, why don't you try to at least work Saturdays so that way we can still do this overnight and hang out. But again, always there to back up my friend. And that is what a friend is and what it always should be. The people that back you up. And I got a great feeling of this right after what happened with the people that were asking me for this phone number, and I just kind of was blown away by the disrespect that, hey, I'm on the phone, I'm clearly busy. You just clearly have no respect for for me as a human being, as a person. And so it's a two-way street. So if this sounds familiar, if this sounds like one of your friends suck and you need to get new friends. There's nothing wrong and there's nothing selfish about kicking people out of your fucking life because you deserve better. No one's ever gonna shit on you for that. And the only people that do shit on you for that are the ones that are afraid of your success. And it's not like they're afraid of what you're personally going to do to affect their lives negatively. It's simply a matter of they look down on themselves, and it's a projection. It's a Freudian slip. It's a simple way of looking at something else and seeing yourself. And the last thing a person that does not like themselves want to see is more of them. And this will always bring me back to my point that I love making. I think it's incredibly important to understand that you do not ever have to hate yourself so you could see what others see. Okay? Because at first, you need to realize that they don't hate you. They hate themselves. They hate the choices they've made. And projecting it on you is the closest thing to a redeeming feeling, a feeling of redemption. Whereas the truth is, shooting somebody down and, really berating them or belittling them and insulting them, you would only really have to do that if you are just unhappy with yourself. Because if you're truly happy with who you are and who you have built yourself to be, there shouldn't be a second that you think about other people's opinion. That shouldn't ever cross your mind. It should never cross your mind. Your mind should always be set on your goals and what your next step is. And it is simply weakness to blame other people's successes, to blame other people's success for your failure. That is simply the weakest point of view and the weakest thing you can do. And that's not how it works. So, that's why I titled this Your Friends Suck. Because I can't even name with two hands, how many people I have heard that allow their friends to do this to them. And then that goes back to the whole toxic friendship. And I think toxic friendships are actually more damaging than a toxic relationship. Because a toxic relationship you tend to learn from and you never go back to. Whereas a toxic friendship, people last in those. People sit in those hells for a long time until they even come to the conclusion that their friend is toxic or their friend is bad for them and their friend is not looking out for their best interest. I had a friend, I still have this friend. We'll call her Gertrude. And she had this friend, we'll call her Jenny. And so Gertrude was a person that was struggling to love themselves. And you could always tell that within their personality, with talking with them, and you always saw that was a hurdle for that person. So Gertrude had always struggled with her own personal self-consciousness. Now Gertrude had a long-term friend named Jenny, and Jenny came over to Gertrude and basically attached to her and attached to like the softest part of her heart and was just bleeding her out for years, and would do it in the most blatant, obvious, disrespectful ways, or she'd do it in a very subtle way that Gertrude would not actually catch. And there's so much of that going on. And so, as Gertrude would listen to Jenny talk about always belittling her and saying things like, "Oh, your boyfriend's ugly," and "Why do you go with this guy?" Not really caring about why Gertrude does these things. She doesn't care why. She just uses it to hurt that person, just to hurt Gertrude. And it worked for a long period of time. And it was so great to see Jenny get kicked out of Gertrude's life, because Gertrude said, "You know what? I love the people that I love, and I don't need to be berated for years." And so Gertrude stood up for herself. And I, to this day, have not heard that person's. I have not heard about Jenny, so I'm guessing that she's doing so much better now. And I mean, I know that for a fact, but it's incredible how easy life can get so much better, and how easy that transition can be, just by getting rid of that spore that is just sucking the life out of you. And so after I had dealt with the couple of idiots that were asking me for that number, and I had walked out, gone shopping, I run into a fan of the show who's a really awesome person, and right away this person tells me they love the episode that we did on voting, and right away she's just rooting for me and just really backing me up here. And it was such a refreshing feeling, because you're so used to the nitpicking and stuff like that. So if you have a friend that is constantly shitting on what you love, what you do, and you think for a second, "Oh, that's just this person's personality," well, you have to remember they see you as a weak personality. And maybe they are your friend. Maybe. If they are, then telling them to respect your boundaries and respect who you are shouldn't be a problem to confront. And more importantly, that friend shouldn't have any problem immediately understanding and agreeing that they could have handled a friendship better. Now, I haven't always been the best friend, and I'm not going to claim to be, but I definitely have learned a lot in just the past few years over what friendships are supposed to be. And if you have some very sad or shocking, depressing news, and you just need to deal with that by yourself for a while, you really need to hold that in, and you just need to deal with it. Asking for privacy is not a big deal, and it should never be looked at as one. And so when you ask for that privacy and immediately start getting text messages and even pictures, that person is obviously not respecting you. Because I had that issue, obviously, since I'm being so specific about it. But when I asked for to be left alone with a friend of mine I just found out had passed, I immediately got messages about the dumbest shit that can pop up in just random conversations. But the fact that 4 minutes ago I asked you to leave me be, and you couldn't last 5 minutes without disrespecting my boundaries. So those are the people you need to kick out of your life, and don't feel selfish about it, okay? Because it's definitely not your fault that somebody else can't respect others. It's not your fault. So, with that, I'm going to leave you with that, since that's my time. Wanted to say so sorry about yesterday. I mean, we managed to get almost 2 hours of just wasted time, and it really sucks. So, hope you guys like the new lighting. The interface soundboard should be coming in soon, so as soon as I pay for it. So we'll be able to have better sound. Useless Agents music pages are going to starting to have better sound. Everything's going to be revamped within the next year. So yeah, if you've been watching the show from the beginning, watch us grow, because that's all we're going to do is keep going on this. And I'm not exactly sure what topic we're doing today around 1 o'clock, but hopefully within the next 3 hours we can come up with a show for you. This really put a dent in the scheduling. Okay, so as always, if you know anybody that is struggling with mental health, having problems with life itself, you can always contact us at uselessagentmusic@gmail.com. Again, we love hearing from you. We love talking to you. And that's also the best way to get into our merch table. We have a lot of cool, sick new designs and graphics for shirts. And again, try to start watching us, because this is not going anywhere. And if anywhere, we're just going further and we're going up. Thanks again for tuning in. And please leave us a like, share, a comment. Don't forget to subscribe to us. We're always on YouTube. And take care of yourselves. Take care of everyone around you. We love you. And as always, I will see you on the other side. So, have a good one, guys.
Useless Agent is on your TV, laptop, or your PC, whatever you call it. Useless Agent is on your Facebook, laptop, or your PC, whatever you call it.